All right, everybody, welcome in. Hope you guys have been well. Hope everything's been good going on in your life. I know certainly out here we're going through some trying times right now. But I want to start off on a positive note. I want to talk about some good things that are happening in the personal life and everything else. Because whenever you're confronted with some hurdles in your life, it's best to reflect on the good things, reflect on the positive things. Welcome back, Forgotten Man. Appreciate you joining in. And so the positive thing, something that I realized when I came and I sat down to actually do this stream with you guys, was that I realized some changes that I've been making in my life have been leading to a much better life. And so what are some of those changes that I've been doing? Well, I think that the specific things that I've been doing aren't necessarily important, but after I add something into my life, after I meet a new person or whatever it is that I've been doing, if it's a good thing, if to use the HGTV, or what was that? It was Netflix. To use the Netflix reference, right? If it sparks and gives you joy or whatever, then you keep it. Do that with your schedule, right? Do that with things that you do. So before I come and I sit down with you guys, I sit down, I open up the pages, I reread everything to make sure, for the most part, right? We do occasionally hit articles where I'm giving you guys the first inside scoop or inside feelings so you guys can see what I'm thinking. But, usually sit down, read through a couple articles, get some good information, and I go and get a glass of water, and I have that sitting with me, and I've got like the Constitution sitting next to me. Like I'm at home, and I come to you guys, and because I'm at home, because I'm comfortable with where I am, it makes it to where we can have a little more of a personal discussion. And I think that has brought joy. And so every time I add one new thing, like the glass of water is pretty new, every time I add something new, I keep it, right? If it's good. If it's not good, I assess that and we throw it away. So doing that and making rituals is how you get into the groove. There's a lot less angst, and then you can actually perform better. So, focusing on the positivity and the fact that now I have water, so I don't get too parched, I guess. It brings a little bit more comfort to me, and hopefully that's providing a better content for you guys in return. And I hope that you guys can find something that will better your life in some small way, because the times of now, of ever, it's always trying. And so let's try to find ways to make it better. So glad you guys joined in. Sorry for getting all personal and thought in that way of thinking. I'm not here to be your guide through life. I'm here to talk to you guys about politics, of course. I haven't even introduced myself. Tonight's a crazy night. So I'm Mr. Murica, the Bearded Truth, Jason Line, your neighborhood libertarian, talking to you guys about politics and social issues mostly, not personal lives, not personal aspirations. And so I want to give you guys the information that's going on out there and bring it to you guys to the libertarian point of view, because if you haven't thought about it in the way of liberty, in the way of freedom, of the way of the individual, if you haven't thought about it in that way, it really is a powerful message. It really is something that can spark the joy that we were referencing earlier. It can make you a better person, better place by thinking of it on the personal level rather than something as nasty and disgusting as the collective. And that's certainly the first topic that we're going to bring up tonight. So down in Colorado, the Senate has passed a bill favoring popular vote over the Electoral College. They have moved one more way into democracy. And what democracy means, all that you need to understand what democracy is the collective. Whoever the majority is the collective. You have and the lists of reasons why democracy is bad, why it's cancer, as what we call it on this show. The reason why it's cancer is because in a democracy where you have 51 or 50.1% of the population being able to control the 49.9 in the way that they work, in the way of their health care, in the way of taking and extorting their money, in the way of just absolute 100% control. There's no limitations to an actual democracy because the democracy will be able to override any document. It will override the Constitution. It'll override any laws that are out there in order to embolden them and to grow itself as the state. There was a reason why, even within the Constitution, in America's founding, why were we a republic and not a democracy? A republic is obviously the representative one. How did it work? Where was the representation? Well, we started off in the House of Representatives, of course, was democratically elected. That was the voice of the people. That was the House of the people. Next, you had the House of the States. You had the Senate itself, and that's where the states had all of its power. That's where the states were feeding in people by their those state representatives. So it was an indirect way. So you as a South Carolinian, we reelect horrible Hugh Leatherman year in and year out. I mean, he's got serious control, which is disgusting. Very corrupt individual. But we keep bringing him in, and then he elects the Senate. He elects the senator. Well, that got changed. We put in the 17th Amendment. Now we have democratically elected House, and we have democratically elected Senate. No representation now there for the states, which is why the 10th Amendment hasn't been adhered to in forever. We move on from that to a strict democracy, a strict popular vote, and now in Colorado, they are trying to push the same thing for the President of the United States. That's right, Electoral College, say goodbye. The entire country is just going to have to listen to California, listen to New York, listen to Virginia, and listen to New Jersey. Those 4 states have got enough of the population to be able to swing any election in the way that they want to. When you add in Texas and the people from Texas and you know they're split, they too heavily enforce the fact that this government that we have is going to be more destructive. It is going to be destroying our lives. I'm not sitting here talking hyperbole, right? If you look at what the representatives are pushing out right now, if you look at what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wants to push with the Green New Deal, control everything. She wants to end air flights. She doesn't want us to be able to use airplanes to move around in this country. Okay, she wants to move that to the train. So she wants to control the way that we're able to navigate around our country. She wants to tear down every building in this country and rebuild it to make sure that it's greener and safer, which would take 300,000 buildings per day to make this actually happen, right? Maybe it was 30,000. I think it was 30,000. So 30,000 buildings per day. Just 300,000 seems like an extremely exorbitant amount, which of course wouldn't be too far off when it comes to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So she wants to do that. She wants to kill all the cows. She wants to end all the cows in this land. We should stop eating so many burgers. We shouldn't allow this. We shouldn't allow people to have burgers and to eat food. Not in the Green Deal, but going along with those lines. She also doesn't want you to have, 300,000. Okay, so it is 300,000. It's a factor of 10. One way or the other. But she doesn't want us to have children anymore. She's pushed out this idea that it's immoral for us to continue having children, right? We have to kill off the people. We have to let the people die off because that way we can save the earth for our future generations that don't exist, that are being aborted. But so she wants to implement all of that. She wants to cut a large amount of the GDP in order to ensure that all of that money that would have been funneled back into the markets, providing jobs, providing loans, providing money, whatever it is, however they want to function. She wants to take all of that out in order to hire people that are unwilling to work. So everything that this woman is pushing is full on socialism. It's full on communism. And her and her buddy Bernie Sanders, sitting there and openly advocating for, universal basic income, right? Everyone gets a job, gets money, whether it's they're working or they're unable to work or they're unwilling. Between the two of them, it should spark so much fear in every American's life. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a liberal. This stuff, even if you're a progressive, even if you believe that right now, I hope that one day you can sit down and you can try to logic your way through these situations. Try to logic them. And really sit down and focus on that. And you will see that nothing that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Bernie Sanders, when they would implement these things, no way would this be able to allow society to survive, right? The intentions are obviously there to help a thriving future for the country. The intent is there, of course, for them to want to make the world a better place in their image. The problem is, the way that they want to implement this will not lead to the desired effect. It will result in the destruction of the healthcare system, much worse than what we have in the VA, right? If you look at the VA right now, veterans are not happy with it. If you look at the VA right now, veterans are not receiving service. If you look at the VA, veterans are being denied, right? There are so many reasons why the VA should scare anyone. Is the exact same reason, but worse, when it goes for the entire country. So until they can figure out how to get the VA to function in any way possible that would be reflective as a positive outcome, once they can achieve to that level, then I will allow them to at least air the idea. But until that moment, what these individuals who are advocating for Medicare for all, what they are advocating for is for the sheer destruction of this entire populace, of the entire country, because they will not have the desired outcome. So looking at this, right, I hope that people can sit down and really think about this stuff. It's a scary, scary world. When you have somebody that is a member of the House believing that she is the boss and that we are just screaming from the back seats, from the cheap seats, as she called it. It's amazing. She'll use capitalist references. Veterans are dying before they can even get an appointment because of the waiting lines are so long. Absolutely. I'm sitting here and because I don't want to be a test guinea pig for different medications, I have to go to a private. I have to go in and get away from something that was caused during the times of the military service that were under something that they really medically discharged me for. But they managed to swindle their way out of it. The military is not taking care of the people. The VA is not taking care of the people. And the government's the one that controls them. But we don't want to... how do we get this across to people? How do we get this across to the other side? Because people need to wake up. People really need to wake up in this country and realize that the government doesn't take care of us. The government is never held accountable for the atrocities that they've done in the past. They don't. It's just not a thing. They aren't accountable. They extort your money. They waste your money. They send it to other countries. They don't even represent you. They don't represent me. They don't represent anyone. There are good people in government. They happen to be libertarians because they actually want you to be able to have a good life. Because certainly our government, maybe there's some government out there that will just be able to perfectly regulate this, that can perfectly legislate this to function, right, for a couple moments. But does anyone on either side of the spectrum really believe that our government can function properly, efficiently, effectively, and provide the services and goods that they even tell us they're going to give us? Does anyone believe that? Because if you are living in 2019 and you have not seen all of the signs saying that our government is not there in our best interest, that our government is more worried about the money sign in your back pocket than they are about you, and that's the government. If you can't even realize that, like, I hope you can wake up one day. I hope you can look at this and go, yeah, even the stuff I support our government for, they can't do right. Even the stuff I support my government for doing, they can't do right. When you can get to that realization, and it really does open you up to saying, sure, I can want these things, I can desire these things, but they don't come to me in a good way. How do we fix this? How do we fix our healthcare system? How do we fix our school system? How do we fix anything that the government is providing you right now? How do we take that and fix it? And it's called doing it ourselves, because we actually care about those things. We won't just show up just to go, oh, I got to go look good for the people around me. Oh, I just really wanted good healthcare, and so I went to a good doctor. Oh, that's not. We do it for ourselves. And when we have competitors, when we have competition, who wins? The consumer every single time. You want to talk about monopolies in this country? You want to talk about the full-fledged companies that are able to do as they want? That get subsidies, that get tax breaks from our government that's supposed to be like all protective of us? Guess what? They are all protected. They are all enforced, protected, and taken care of by our federal government, by even our state governments. They are protected. These corporations are being so protected by our government that it's why we don't have capitalism. It's why we don't have number one healthcare. It's why we don't have number one education in the world. Because believe me, if there's a better idea, if there's a good idea on how a school can run, I'm sure every company out there in the private market would want to do that. There's no holdup. There's no holdup when you have to wait for people to come together and go, oh, I really want to help out in this department. And the other side, in the other group, same business, right? Going, no, we can't do that. We got to do this. We got to do this, right? They're actually working and they're saying, all right, let's rationally talk about this. Let's logically think about this. And let's steer our company to be better. Let's have it to where more people want to come to us for these products. And then the other competitor goes, oh, look at that. They're getting better. They do the same damn thing. They strive. They work so hard. They don't need protections from the government. They don't need to be too big to fail. All they need to have is unregulated competition. All that they need to have is to stop having it where the government's saying, we're going to set new hurdles. We're going to set new barriers there for small businesses to get involved. Why, when you stifle competition, what you are doing is you are supporting the big guys that are already there. You're hurting the little guys that are struggling, but they're still there. They lose out. And now you're left with less ideas. And you can say, oh, well, if they couldn't survive that, they shouldn't be there anyways. You know what happens mostly in the restaurant business. Do you know what happens in small businesses that just recently started up? They just finally got over the hurdles you had already put in place, and you slap them with another one. You hit them so hard, you hit them in the gut after they're already on the ground. And to be so, to just not have any care or compassion for fellow man. Why do you need to make it harder for someone else to succeed when you benefit if they succeed more? We need to sit down as a country and realize that the government is there making it harder for these businesses, harder for everyone to be able to do what they need to do. I realize we're going way off on tangent, but I think this is important. The government's not, they don't care about you. They don't care about you at all. There are a couple of people in office that actually do. That say, I want to take away the government as much as possible. And you know what they get? They get ridiculed by the big government people. And then those big government people are able to portray a message that they're here to make your life worse. No, to be liberated, to actually have more freedom, to have more companies being able to compete would mean to better your life. To better an individual's life, you can raise up all of the individuals in this country and make the collective better. But if you're working to make the collective better, you have to take that from the individual. You have to take that power from the individual. You have to make it more difficult for them to do something. And your end result, by crippling the individual, your end result is not a better collective, but a worse collective. This is why socialism has failed. This is why democratic socialism, which is the same damn thing, you just vote for the gun instead of having it be forced in your face, that's why it fails. Understand that your world is a better place if you take ownership of your own life. It's so important. All right, now that I've gone through two big rants, I don't know what it is about tonight, guys, but let's get to the news. I guess we had some news thrown into there. I would say that's a fairly good rant. Might be a little tossed around a bit, but nonetheless, it's okay. So we start off with Colorado. So yes, so the Senate has passed it. We're going to see the House pass it as well, and this means that we're going to a popular vote. So 51% of the country is able to rule over the other 49%, thereby failing the republic, thereby making us susceptible to the majority and having our rights stripped away, having our freedom taken from us, and then once it's all said and done, with the fractional bit of capitalism that they might leave us with, they'll say, that wasn't real socialism, that was capitalism. Much like we're failing now. So anyways, so we're going to move over to Connecticut. So over there in Connecticut, to shift gears from economics and politics in general, to athletes, to sprinting, to having a good time, much like the left has been sprinting to the left. These transgender women have been sprinting faster than all of the actual biological women. Ooh, what a surprise. Has anyone surprised? No one is surprised. I'm crazy astonished by this. But over there, it made news because now we have a first and a second place transgender women, which means that they were male to female, that are setting records for the girls. So this was at this was at one of the events. I'm trying to figure out exactly which one this one was. Oh yeah, championships. So the state, I believe it might be the state's championships. It might be regional. I don't know. That's kind of what I was looking for. But nonetheless, it was like the afterthought I wanted to bring up. So one of the girls recently finished second in the 55-meter dash at the State Open. Oh, State Open. There we go. Track championships. The winner, Terry Miller of Bloomfield High, is also transgender and sets a girls' state indoor record of 6.995 seconds. Yearwood, second place person, was 7.01, and the third place competitor, who is not transgender, finishes in 7.23. Now, with such a small margin of difference between the two men, and then the second place woman, right? If you look at that by percentages, 6.95 and 7.1. So you have, well, the deviation is 0.06 seconds. And then a whopping 22 milliseconds later, the woman passes. Can we admit in 2019 that men and women are different? Can we just finally admit that biologically they're different? It's okay to be trans. It's okay to be a drag queen. It's okay for that stuff. But this is just nonsensical. It's okay to be trans. It's okay to believe, to have gender dysphoria, and to believe that you are a person of the opposite gender despite your, or of the opposite sex, regardless of what your body says, or against what your body says, and against your DNA, and against your physical finesse. Okay? That's fine. There's no issue there. Live your life. I'll live mine, and we could be. I have plenty of friends that are trans. It's a non-issue. But when you compete a man versus a woman in physical events, the man has, I believe, apart from only one event, and it was like one style of swimming. I think it was like marathon swimming or something ridiculously like long swim. Or long swim wise, not like shorter like Olympic, but you know, distance on it. Other than that one, men are better at women in these sports. You do not compete the one against the other, because it's unfair for the women. It's not in favor of feminism. Now, if you want to do like completely like everybody is co-ed, that's fine, but you don't go to a girls' track meet if you're a guy, and if you're a girl. It's kind of a weird situation, right? So even when you have a male to female transition, they have a lot more testosterone than women, obviously. And so that helps them build muscle mass, that helps them be faster, stronger, et cetera, et cetera. But when you go from a woman to, or a female to male, you actually get injected with testosterone. And so you're now too strong to be a woman, right? Effectively, because it's performance enhancing drugs, but you also aren't a man to go into that, and so it does raise this weird conflict. But that doesn't mean you infringe upon the women, right? Setting these records, it's meaningless. And the truly disgusting part of what the news did, of what the media did about this, was that they try to make them be the victims of this, like the sprinters. The sprinters are the victims here. How dare they get first and second place? That gold and silver medal, that is so... sympathy. My sympathy for them. They may never be the same. No, they're not the victims, right? I realize that there's a lot of hate out there doing this. I realize that there's a lot of people with a crazy amount of vitriol against you. But you don't allow that to make you a victim. You should not in any way be taking a situation where you have a lot of hate and go, I'm a victim. The victimhood mentality of when people are either A, dishonest, or B, trying to take an unfair advantage against others by choice. By choice. Nobody said you have to be trans and you have to run in these events. You did something that is, it's cheating. Like, let's be honest, it's fucking cheating, all right? But yet here we have them saying I'm a victim because people hate me, because people don't like me. You expected them to go, yay, we're so happy for you. You can beat a bunch of people that are biologically disadvantaged to you. Like, that's not cool, right? Like, can we still say that in 2019? It's not cool to beat up on people just because you happen to be physically bigger than them, or stronger than them, or faster than them. Like, it's not cool to do that, and especially in competition. So, man, I hate this. I hate this, right? Because I am a feminist, right? Let me be clear to you guys. I'm a feminist because I believe in the equality of the woman and the man. Doesn't mean I want them in the draft, just like I don't want the men in draft. They could both be in the draft if they have to, right? I don't want them to. I don't want the difference, right? I want the equality of opportunity. I'm against conscription, and certainly when this is being looked at right now, I don't want the women to be put into this either. But I'm a feminist, and I don't see how any feminist out there would say that they're an advocate for this. It's an atrocity that is happening in competition right now. It's an absolute atrocity. And can we just have fair competition again? Like, we don't let. Never mind. I think we're done with that, right? It's truly atrocity that the media would try to turn these people into a victim when really the victims were the other girls who were at a disadvantage and had people coming in that were effectively cheating and having it be known that they were cheating. They are the victims. They couldn't get first and second because there were men running in the race. It is what it is. So while we go from the ridiculousness, we're going to go to another ridiculous situation because I agree with Kamala Harris on something. Yes, that's right. Kamala Harris and we agree on one thing. And this is something that we've been talking about recently. We've been talking about this real recently. So Senator Kamala Harris from California, Democrat from California, this is from The Hill, says that she supports the decriminalization of sex workers nationwide, noting that we can't criminalize consensual behavior as long as no one is being harmed. It's crazy. I believe that we were having this very discussion just the other day. Because what is the issue when two people decide to consent to doing something, or one person decides to consent to doing something to themselves, and there's no harm done to other people, right? Where's the issue? There isn't one. It is manufactured. It is manufactured to make us hate each other, to think ill of the other part of the population that may be addicted to drugs, that may be into prostitution, that may be into, other victimless crimes. Or not victimless crimes, but, victimless crimes. Yeah, I apologize. I was thinking of nonviolent for some reason. No, definitely victimless crimes, because nonviolent crimes still suck. But we have to get away from these. If there's no victim, there's no crime. And so Kamala Harris coming out and talking about legalizing prostitution across the country. What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, if we look at certain areas of this country, specifically Las Vegas and Rhode Island, what you see in an area like that is actually a push down. It makes the society a little more safer on beyond the morality and the views that, if as long as both people consent, there's no issue. It makes society a little bit safer because there are less rapes that happen around these areas, except for maybe Las Vegas, because Las Vegas, there's a lot of booze and stuff like that. Girls call rape afterwards, men call rape afterwards, and there are obviously actual situations, not to downplay those. But in Rhode Island specifically, right, rapes went down. Violent sexual assaults went down. People were a lot safer. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of guys that really couldn't get it on their own, and so they became a little bit happier. That raised the morale of the entire area. There's a lot of benefits to this, and so her coming out there, and it's to help, right? Bring back a little bit more liberty for you guys. Maybe you got that coworker, and you can so it's their birthday. They've been extra spicy lately, so you just buy them somebody, and then the next couple of days they won't be so spicy. They'll be happy and go lucky. You might have that. So there's even benefit for you, even though you may be married or not into that. There's a market there, I promise. But she talks about this, and it's important. It's good. We need to hear this. Just because they're Democrats, just because they're crazy left wing, just because they're progressives, doesn't mean that everything they say is nonsensical or ridiculous. Sometimes they have ideas about making this better. And that means actually giving you more rights over yourself. That doesn't mean, of course, that people that do not consent to going into this, that she's in favor of, right? If you're a pimp and you're forcing your hoes into business, she's not down with that. The human trafficking, she's not down with that. Much like all of us, right? We're not in favor of the violation of other people's lives. We're not in favor of the infringement. We're not into forcing them into making these consensual transactions. But if they want to, who's the victim? So it's beautiful to see that she's saying that and in support of that. I hope that in the future that more people can think about this, rationalize it, really push it through with logic and see, hey, I don't agree with it. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go buy one. But why does it hurt the guy next door? Why do I get to dictate what he wants? So good on Kamala Harris for pushing this out. Other than that, she's still crazy lefty loony, misses everything economically for the most part, and is still remaining pretty hypocritical. I'm sure that this is just good publicity, and I apologize. This is just good publicity so the libertarians will talk about her and she can swing some more votes her way. Kamala Harris, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. We know this to be true. You're not going to win. But meanwhile, while we've been talking about drugs a little bit, and we didn't get into it, but we referenced it. While we're talking about this, I got an event that just happened here in Greenville County, South Carolina. That is the home of the beard. Yes, in my home county of Greenville, South Carolina, we had a man that did an amazing feat. He did a very kind gesture. To be specific, he spent more than $500 cash to buy 121 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. Now, I know you guys are thinking, how American is this dude buying 121 boxes of Girl Scouts cookies? Of course, once they come out, you got to go buy a couple boxes. And if you've got $500 cash, this is what this man is going after. You got to get the cash, or you got to get the cookies. No, it wasn't for the personal greed. He bought the 121 boxes of Girl Scout cookies so the two Girl Scouts wouldn't have to stand in the rain. Tell me that's not the sweetest thing you've ever heard. Tell me that's not somebody that's like out there being like, look, you're having a rough time. Let me hook you up. You can bounce out of here. You're going to be ecstatic. I helped out. I did something good. And he, how is that not something that just pulls on your heartstrings? Well, he's been arrested. He's been arrested in a long-term federal drug investigation. So in a matter of days, so this guy went and bought these cookies. Bought these cookies from these little girls so that they didn't have to stand in the rain. And because of the media, because of how many Facebook messages there were, how many tweets there were, this news spread like wildfire, and they were able to track down this man. His name was Dietrich McGowan. He was arrested Tuesday morning by USDA or DEA, USDA, the USDEA, and he is accused of conspiracy to manufacture and distribute. It was. So here, I'll give you the charges against him, and we can talk about this. Conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute controlled substances. So he had drugs and was willing to give out drugs. Conspiracy to import controlled substances. Conspiracy to help move drugs in. Conspiracy to bulk cash smuggling, $1 million. So he was moving money. Interstate travel and transportation in aid of drug trafficking business, moving drugs. Possession with intent to distribute and distribution of heroin, drugs. Maintaining a drug-involved premise, drugs. Conspiracy to structure transactions to evade reporting requirement. Yep, because drugs are bad, okay? 3 courts of unlawful use of communication facility. Probably moving drugs. So this guy is going to jail, getting torn up, locked up because of drugs. From something that one individual says, I want to do coke. I want to do marijuana. I want to do heroin. Whatever it is, right? They have to go to these people that are working on the black market, that you have no idea what they're doing. You have no control over what they're adding into it, what they're not adding into it, the quality. You have no control over any of that, really. But there's enough incentive there for people to do it. Okay? So they do drugs. And that means that there's a market for drugs. So people that are trying to make a living off of selling one thing to another person who consents to it, I fail to see a reason, an actual logical reason why you say, I don't like drugs, I won't do drugs, and just end it there. I don't understand why that's so, why you have to be so selfish, all right? Let me just be honest, right? Because I'm not somebody that's out there and I'm like, oh, yes, I can't wait to do drugs. I can't wait for drugs to be legal so I could do them. I'm not somebody that's sitting here and doing anything unlawful. I don't ever intend to do drugs. I don't intend to do, anything that's going to destroy my life. But this guy's getting locked up because of that. Because he was willing to provide people with this. And obviously, this guy's such a bad guy for buying 121 boxes of Girl Scout cookies just so that 2 girls wouldn't have to stand in the rain. He's willing to give $500. Like, how often do we see people actually giving away $500 and not really doing it for the publicity, right? This is obviously a guy that doesn't want the publicity. He's just a good guy. And now he's going to jail? Like, can we rethink about this war on drugs? Please. So it's so shocking to me that this is America, guys. This is how far controlling America has gotten. This is how much control the government has already ceded from the people and from the states. It's not a good. It's quickly becoming a worse area by the election, right? Where else do we have to go? There's not really anywhere. So we have to come together. We have to fight this. Let's fight against the government. Allow for us to be free. Allow us to actually be able to go out and make our own dumb decisions, make our own good decisions, make the decisions that were called dumb, but you turn them into good. Allow us to have that freedom. Because that's what America was supposed to be. Not a government that can't do anything, but is willing to take over everything. That was never the intent here. And certainly the war on drugs has been a failed war on drugs. When the government declares a war against an idea, you know that idea is just going to become worse. You guys want to check the war on terror? Yeah, we're winning against one group. But there's more terror coming to this country every single day. Every single day. You open up the news and you see more terror coming. You know that's why a lot of Americans don't follow politics, they don't follow the news. Because that's all that this is. We have been brainwashed into buying into the terrors that they've created. And they're creating actual terrors while claiming there are terrors. We have to fight against the government, and certainly we're seeing a lot of good people fighting against the government, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. And but we need more people. We need more people seeing that, and I hope that you guys can self-reflect. I hope that you guys can think about that, and even the things you love about the government. Look at them. Are they doing it the best that they could? If you can think of a better way, realize that you don't have a voice to them because they don't care about you. So even if you had a better way, they're not going to buy into it. So you have to do it yourself. And you have to fight against the system in order to get in because they don't really like the outsiders. They don't like the outsiders that actually want to tear away at the government. I was genuinely hoping that President Trump was going to be more effective at cutting away at the federal government. But it seems like right now he's given up on us a little bit. And I know there's a lot of partisan hatred there. I'm not talking about the partisan partisanry. I'm not talking about the Republican versus Democrats. I'm talking about like actually, creating a precedent with this national emergency. To the extent that he's doing it and the way that he's doing it, it is unprecedented. It hasn't occurred like this before. And it's giving grounds for the government to continue to grow. And that's something we should all be against. Be in favor of the wall. Be in favor of the wall. Okay? That's not a problem. But at least advocate that Congress has to do it. Yeah, please. Libertarian with non-initiation of force first principle asks people to fight. Logic fail. Love it, Boogie. I always love your comments, bro. I'm sorry I haven't been reading them. If you can't get the fundamentals right, everything that follows would be wrong by definition. Absolutely. I am sorry, guys. I've been watching. I've been on these tangents and have not been following the comments at all. I apologize. I forgot you guys even existed, really. I'm kidding. No, but I really do. I genuinely appreciate you guys coming in tonight. And no, I get on those tangents, and I apologize. I don't know what it is about tonight. But it's truly an issue, the way that our government's been growing. And certainly, I don't want to... When I talk to you guys about the government, I want you guys to realize I'm not anti-Trump. I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not anti-Nancy. I'm not pro-Nancy, right? They've all worked against me. So I think it would be fair to say that they're somewhat of an enemy of mine. But that doesn't mean I won't be reasonable with them. I won't. I promise you guys, I will always work to be reasonable with any people within the government. I can be an advocate for government and realize that my government is bad. And I hope that you guys can also do the same. Don't say because you like somebody's policies that you're going to ignore how they're implementing them. I hope that's what we can push for. Be clear on the process, not so much. Not the ends do not always justify the means, and certainly I think this is one of those situations where it's not. Yeah, man, I feel like I haven't been. I've been segueing into topics quite well, but if you guys aren't following the news, you guys might have missed that. But if you guys have been following me for a while, I know you guys are going to be on top of those references, of course. But spinning it all together right now more than ever, we need like an actual libertarian yellow coat or yellow jacket movement. We need an actual like group of people saying you've gone way too far. You've gone far enough, right? 40% of my effective tax, or 40% effective tax rate on me. You've gone far enough with the spending. You're not good at it. Let's be honest. Stop taking my money. We gotta fight for that. I apologize. And yeah, I really want to say thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. I apologize that I've been kind of moving along quite rapidly on a lot of things. I usually try not to. I try to slow down. But it is what it is. You've been inspired, like I said. Thank you. Drugs are bad and made to be an addictive. Yeah. But who's to say like addictions are bad, right? Because even make liberty sexy again. Ooh, yeah. Absolutely. We need some talent and charisma. Yes, absolutely. We need somebody coming out there and talking about this stuff in a much better, sexier way than what I'm talking about. But even if drugs are made to be addictive, what makes them bad? Is the badness because of the result of what they do, right? Is it bad to be high? Is it bad to be high on caffeine, on alcohol, everything else, right? Prohibition failed quite handily here in America, and the world got better for legalizing that. Go back to the hooker stuff. Some gold in there. I mean, we can go back to that. We can go back to the hooker stuff. But drugs are natural selection. Legalize them all. Let people decide their own fate. Absolutely. Yes. Exactly. Let them decide their own life. If you're worried about climate change, Let people do drugs, and then you won't have to worry about the climate so much. There's no more babies, right? Less babies, everybody's happy. If you want to die covered in your own piss in an alley somewhere with a needle up your arm, then go. This is what you love about Australians, right? They no holds barred. It's there. Boom. Boom. I love it. See, that's Boogie. I need to move to Australia just so I can enjoy like that blunt speak. But yeah, no, it's looking at these topics and really once you get down to the consent, once you get down to the idea that you get to choose your own life, you get to choose your own fate, you get to collect the rewards and the punishments for whatever it is that you do. I think life is worth living. If you don't want to have any control and you just want to have a guaranteed outcome, I don't think that you're going to have the guaranteed outcome that you desire. Alcohol is a socially acceptable drug. It's a very hard drug. It is very addicting as well. But yeah, no, like let life be life. Let people be people. Let live and let live. It needs to go. LGBTQI parade down under happening soon. What? I don't know what that LGBTQIAA +2. I don't remember how far that's gone. That group's ridiculous. Best way to ensure kids do drugs is the man telling them they can't. You're absolutely right with that, man. It's crazy. There's so many different ways that you can make these markets work. And if you're a giant supporter of the government, you think that the government is doing good, even within the drugs, right? The CIA coming through and being like, you guys want some crack? Mm-hmm. We got you. We got you in the ghettos, right? We got you. We're going to throw you some crack and it's going to be okay. Like, even the government's trying to sell drugs and they're saying, you guys can't. You guys can't. Nah, I need that freedom. I need that liberty. Because there's a market there. And certainly, right, once you open up the market to the government and to the people can be more transparent and you can get better customers that way. You notice how you look at like a bunch of small companies? Here, I want to use a real example for you guys. If you guys look at small companies right now, look at how transparent they are. They're absolutely like 10 times more transparent than the big government, than the big companies are. They're the better people, right? They're the people that are trying to get up to the next level. And the same would happen even in the markets that are right now, that are banned, that are black market. The new companies are going to be doing that because they want to get your support. They want to be able to survive. They want to be able to keep doing what they're doing. And the better guy is going to win. So when it comes to drugs, when it comes to prostitution, when it comes to markets that are out there right now, televisions, right? Televisions are becoming so stupidly cheap and they keep getting way better. Why is that? Because technology's fantastic. The freedom, the unregulated market's better. It's just better. But with that, guys, I realized there's been a lot of ramblings, I think we got through the topics though. We started on the topics and trailed off into crazy Liberty land, but we got through them. So we I don't even know if we could do a recap with it really. But I do want to say thank you guys for coming in out tonight. This is Tuesday night. I felt like it was Thursday all day, but it's Tuesday night. So the next time I'll see you guys is going to be Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. I am Mr. Merca, the Bearded Truth, Jason Lyon, and I want to say thank you guys for all coming out here. But the next time I will see you guys is going to be Friday night, and I look forward to seeing you guys then. Have a great night, have a great week, and hopefully the state stays out of your way. So I'll catch you guys Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. I am Mr. Merca, the Bearded Truth, Jason Lyon. Have a good night.